What's a small but ridiculous change that was made in an on-screen adaptation?
Werewolves are different to normal wolves because they have a shorter snout, more human-like eyes, tufted tail. That's pretty much it. And somehow we end up with this monstrosity. What is that? Twilight got it better than Harry Potter. This should be illegal.
Why was Moaning Myrtle played by a 37-year-old woman? I mean, she did a good job, but did they run out of teenagers? On the set of Harry Potter? This scene is very weird. That is a grown woman.
In Percy Jackson, Annabeth is supposed to be blonde, and it bothers me that that was the only thing they fixed for the sequel.
What's a small but ridiculous change that was made in an on-screen adaptation?
In My Sister's Keeper, in the book, so they won the court case, which means she doesn't have to give the organ to her sister like her and her sister had previously chosen to do. And so they're all really happy. The mom forgives her, and the lawyer, I think his name is Campbell, drives her to the hospital to tell the sister what happened. And they get in a car accident, and she dies. And since she dies, I think her dad, he's a firefighter, so he has to pull her body out of the car. And since she dies, they're like, we might as well give the organ to the sister. They give her the organ, and it's successful, which they weren't sure it was going to be. And yeah, and in the movie, they make it to the hospital, they tell the sister, and that's it. And the sister, who has cancer, dies like she was going to without the organ. And it's just a completely different ending, and I don't know why.
This is the Transformers Covenant of Primus book. It is a big fucking book. It is dense as fuck. This book details the origins of the Transformers race, and one of the main characters in this book is Megatronus Prime, better known as the Fallen. Megatronus Prime, who is not Megatron, Megatron was named after him, kills his wife, Solus Prime, in a fit of rage caused by his evil brother, Liege Maximo. Megatronus hates himself for it. He resents it. He regrets it. So he banishes himself to deep space for billions of years. But in the movies and the TV shows, everything based on this book, he's a goddamn mustache-twirling villain who wants to kill everyone in the universe, and it's stupid. It ruins his character.
Okay, this has haunted me for years, but it's also been years since I've read the book, so I'm probably going to get some details wrong. But I just thought this was an omission that it had too much to do with the story to be omitted. But in the first Twilight books, Bella is hemophobic. Now, I don't think the book outright says that she has hemophobia, but either someone gets cut in class one day, or if I remember correctly, they had to take their blood in class one day because they were trying to figure out their blood types. I could have made that up. But blood is spilled, and she has an episode where she has to be taken to the nurse. Either Edward takes her to the nurse, or she sees Edward on the way to the nurse, something along those lines. But yeah, I just thought her being squeamish to blood was kind of important to the storyline about vampires. This movie and this book. I've been mad about this since 2012. Thresh doesn't die because of the mutts in the book. That's because he is one of the mutts. In the book, the mutts are made out of the dead tributes. Reading directly from the book, the green eyes glowering at me are unlike any dog or wolf, any canine I've ever seen. They are unmistakably human, and that revelation has barely registered when I notice the collar has a number 1 inlaid with jewels, and the whole horrible thing hits me. The blonde hair, the green eyes, the number, that's Glimmer. She has to fight off the mutt made of rue. And that's not in the movie. I feel like it should be in the movie.
In the final Hunger Games book, they invade the Capitol, and one of the things that they come across is a booby trap to attack them and hurt them is these modified looking panther things, right? Not humanoid at all, but a full-blown panther-like creature. In the book, Katniss is struck by one of them when they make hard eye contact, and she realizes that panther has Rue's eyes. If you remember correctly, Rue is a little girl that Katniss is an ally with in the first games and is very connected to. And it implies heavily in the book that this is Rue, and that the Capitol has done God knows what to other contestants' bodies and turned them into these creatures to attack, other tributes and anything else, which added a whole new layer of, disgust and hate for the Capitol. And the movie was just like, we didn't see that.
You don't know how much I love talking about this. So, Fallen, written in 2009, my favorite book series from childhood. Basically, YA paranormal romance, girl falls in love with guy turns out to be a fallen angel, she's been reincarnated for centuries, spontaneously combusts every time they try to get together, so she has to try and recall her past lives in order to break the curse. After 5 or 6 years of teasing it, the book finally got a movie adaptation in 2016. And it's not good. But there's one thing that bothers me most. In the second book of the series, it's a huge plot point that while our main character is learning how to fence, she also recalls how to speak past languages, which then unlocks this whole other layer to the paranormal world building and is what launches us into the third book. And they put that scene in the movie before she has any idea that her love interest is in any way supernatural. So not only does this take away her power in the moment that she first learns to do something for herself in this world, but it showed their hand that when they were writing the script, they didn't really expect or intend to make any more of these movies, which leads me to ask the question, did you actually believe in that story? Because that doesn't make it sound like you did, and then why did you spend that much money making it? It drives me absolutely insane, and all of my friends are tired of me talking about it.
So in the movie version of Rent, the musical opens with the line, December 24th, 1989, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The musical, where this line is sung, actually begins, December 24th, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They add a year in the movie, and there's no year in the stage show. This is because the stage show is supposed to be set in the present day, which at the time the show came out was 96, but really could be any present day. The movie adds a year. By adding a year to it, it dates it and also creates anachronism. In Today for You, Angel sings, when Thelma and Louise did when they got the blues, even though that movie hadn't even come out yet. To this day, I have no clue why they added a year.
Okay, so y'all know I love BBC Merlin. You know I love it. But I think we need to take a moment to acknowledge that in the original canon, Merlin was an old man. Look at this infant. Look at him. Look at Colin Morgan. He is an infant. He is a child. Don't get me wrong, I love him. I'm very grateful that the BBC cast Colin Morgan and made Merlin younger than Arthur and had him cry a lot very beautifully. But what?
Okay, this isn't ridiculous, in negative, but, bitch, they didn't have New Girl in Town in the original Hairspray. Yeah. This, changed the whole game. And originally, they didn't put it in the musical because it was too long, so they cut it for time. But, bitch, when they put it in this film, period!
For this scene, I hate it. It is big nasty. And I know why they added it. It shows Snape's love for Lily blah blah. But you know what it also does? It makes him look super fucking creepy. This man walks into their house, steps over her husband's dead body, and just ignores the small child behind him. And then, since we know that Hagrid picked up Harry and took him to the Dursleys later, that just implies that Snape just left the child there. He just looked at him in the crib and was just you'll be fine. It's I know in the book Snape is not a good person anyway. So maybe this is very in character for him, whatever, but this didn't happen. And there are many reasons why Severus Snape is a little fucko, but this is not one of them. I just feel like this scene did not age well. It wasn't great when it came out, but definitely now, it is not a good representation of love. And honestly, I think the only reason why it was affected is because you see Alan Rickman cry, which hurts, but, this didn't happen.
Percy Jackson's pen being a click pen instead of a cat pen. Having the pen be a click pen makes sense in like an activation sort of way, like you click it, it activates, right? However, having it be a cat pen instead plays way more heavily into the saying that it's trying to put a twist on, if that makes sense. It's most definitely playing into that old saying that the pen is mightier than the sword. And that comparison is 100 times more interesting and valid if the pen is a cat pen. Because if it's a cat pen, then the sword and the pen act in the same way. The pen's cap acts like a sheath, just like a sword has, right? And that's the comparison that's trying to be made there. And I think that's infinitely lost when it's a click pen.
In the Deathly Hallows. So in the book, Harry, Ron, and Hermione have spent months camping, right? They're on the hunt for Horcruxes, so they're in a tent, they're like on the run. And so by the time they get to Malfoy Manor, Harry's described as having long hair and a beard, and so even with Hermione's jinx, it's understandable that he's unrecognizable, right? He looks completely different than he's looked the past 6 years. In the movie, all they did was swell up his face a little, and they expect the viewer to believe that Draco wouldn't recognize Harry, his essential arch enemy, because his face is a little puffy. And it make sense.
Jen.
I'm sorry, I actually forgot that I had another one of these, and this is so stupid. Numerous times throughout the books, Chiron Brunner is mentioned to be a white horse. And then in the movie, he's not. And I know that this is stupid, okay? I know that this is really stupid. And like the definition of inconsequential. But it feels like just the perfect summation of what these movies were. They had the game plan right there. They had the whole thing. All they had to do was make it. And it's not like centaurs exist. So someone had to CGI that. Which means that making him a brown horse was a choice that they made. And they could have just made him a white horse. Because he's white in the books. And they didn't. Because why would they? Why would they?
Those that know. Okay? So, what we deserved. What we got.
In the Harry Potter books, there was a whole plot line about the Elf Liberation Front, and it was so dope. The Elf Liberation Front was basically like this labor rights movement on behalf of the elves who did all of the labor and all of the work and kept this whole Harry Potter world running behind the scenes, but had no rights and were like not recognized. They were like second-class citizens. And like Hermione and all these like woke Hogwarts kids, I guess, were like part of this Elf Liberation Front. And it was so dope. And it was just this great labor rights movement. And of course they left that out of the Hollywood movie.
Oh, this is going to be embarrassing. Angels and Demons by Dan Brown. So in the book, they start looking for this thing that they didn't think existed, which was the Illuminati diamond. And they were like, it doesn't exist. Nobody's ever seen it before. And in the book, you see it and you just go, oh shit! It was a huge oh shit moment. So much so I got it tattooed on my arm. Did they do that in a movie? Did they do that in a movie? Did they? They led up to the idea of the ambigrams on all the other, cardinals that was being affected. But not the ending. The ending was supposed to be the Illuminati diamond that was seared onto the Pope's chest. They gave us some fucking cross keys bullshit. I was pretty pissed. Very fucking pissed.
There was no reason in this or any of the other universes in the multiverse that the Burrow needed to be burned down. That's it. The Burrow never needed to be burned down. No questions, no comments. Love you, K, bye.
I will never forgive the screen adaptations of the Divergent series because it is supposed to be based on a post-war world. And, the real story of, okay, they're going to try to control us with simulations and everything like that. They follow that to a T. And then they get to where it's sci-fi and flying cars and everything like that. Nowhere in the books was there flying cars. I can't watch the movies today. It makes me so mad when I do. And the backstory behind Triss's mother, barely touched. Barely touched. It was a huge part of the books.
Why did they make Bo Buttons and Durmstrang gender specific? Why is this an all-female school? Why? There's French guys in the books. Is it because the uniforms got too cute for guys to wear? I want to see French guys in cute blue uniforms. I want to see girls in those sick red robes. They were really cute. Why? I just don't get it.
Okay, for me, this had to do with the Hunger Games trilogy. So in the first Hunger Games movie, I was speechless when we see that Katniss doesn't get her Mockingjay pin from Madge, the mayor's daughter, and she just picks it up in the hob like nobody's business. Like, I'm sorry, you just wrote off a character who comes back in another book? Explain.
If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. And subscribe. We publish new videos every day.